All right, everybody. Once again, it's time for Off the Top Sportscast. I'm John, and that guy right there with the Yankee shirt on is Roy. Roy, I believe you have the subject for us today, but before we get started, please hit the little like, hit the little subscribe, and think about what you're about to say when we get done so that we can hear your comments. We love them. Roy, what's the topic of the day?
So we're going to talk about the topic of the day is worth it or not. Worth
Mm,
it or not. When it comes to NFL free agency, is the signing worth it or not? So let's talk about some of the signings that have happened so far. We're going to say,
sure.
hey, yeah, worth it, not worth it. So one of the first signings early, February 28th, Demarcus Robinson re-signs with the Rams. Re-signs with the Rams, had 26 receptions, 371 yards, 4 touchdowns, got a contract of 1 year, $5 million. Worth it
Yeah,
or not?
only the Rams are going to know if this one's worth it. Um, Here's the thing: the Rams have been in cap jail. They had a whole persona of F them picks, right? So they traded off all these high picks and got all these high price free agents. What the result of those things is that you don't have cheap labor that is good because you've traded all your top picks away, and you're having to settle for the labor you've got. They've done a fantastic job in the draft. I mean, Puka Nacua was a steal now that we see what he's become. So I'll defer to them on Robinson. I don't know enough about him to know if it was a good deal or a bad deal.
Yeah,
Um, it's not a big deal, which helps them.
I like that. Worth it or not? Don't know if it's a good deal, bad deal, but it's not a big deal. I
That's
like that.
right.
Let's talk about the next one. March 4th signing. Re-signed with the Buccaneers, Mike Evans, 79 receptions, 1,255 yards, 13 touchdowns, 2 year contract, $52 million, 35 of it guaranteed. Is that a worth it or not?
I think it's the most worth it signing that we're going to come upon this year. There's nobody who deserves to retire with a team more than Mike Evans. He's given his all. He's been productive. He's been hurt and still productive in the same year. Mike Evans has never, I believe, he still holds the record, and it's ongoing for the receiver with the most consecutive 1,000 yards, which I think it's now at 10. There's nothing you can say about Mike Evans. He's that guy. He's the dude the glue guy. And the only thing that I am sad about is that there was many teams that could have used him, that could have gotten to the Super Bowl with him. I don't think he's going to get to the Super Bowl with Tampa, but I think if he would have
Well,
conceded,
remember, he's got one.
yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying if he would have gone to Kansas City, if he would have gone to Buffalo, if he would have gone to, there's a couple of teams that he could have got a couple multiple tries at it at the very least. And I'm sad for him for that aspect. But he knew what he wanted. He wanted to be in Tampa. And
Well, and the thing is,
yeah,
remember, he lives in Texas. So I thought he might have been sniffing out the Texans. At 35 million, the only thing that's guaranteed, that's not a bad deal. That's a worth it for that type of receiver. And to go to a team like the Texans, I think he could have elevated that team and they could have been seeing themselves in a Super Bowl next year. You're right, Buffalo, KC, different teams like that, of course. But I thought Texan for 35 guarantee. Remember, they can take him for 1 year, 35, and cut him. So I think it's well worth it.
before we move off that subject, I want to say I did not think of the Texans as an option, a viable option. I will give you the credit because that would have been a fantastic option
Yeah,
with Nico Collins on the other side, with Tank Dell with the speed and Mike Evans.
they'd have been pretty dangerous.
Wow. You really brought an aspect that I had not thought about in Houston that would have been great.
That'd have been great. And I think maybe they sign him. I would have done for 3 years. You know what I mean? For him, 2 guarantee, maybe 1 an option. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
March 5th, Dalton Schultz resigned with the Texans. 59 receptions, 635 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3-year contract, 36 million, 23.5 million guaranteed. Tight end there. Worth it or not?
I think Dalton Schultz proved himself in Dallas, goes to Houston, and shows that he can be the security blanket to a young quarterback.
Smart move.
And there's nothing worth it more than the security blanket to a young quarterback. He catches everything that you want him to catch, big enough and strong enough to block when you need him to block. You're not playing Nico right now. I think he's got another 2 years before you pay him. You're not paying Tank Dell and you're not paying your quarterback. So pay the guy who makes the first downs, which I think is Dalton Schultz.
And I think if you're watching the game is going where tight ends are becoming very important to the scheme of the NFL. And I think that's going to be the new wave where they're going to be watching. If anybody's playing football right now, coming out of high school, I think they should go to college and be a tight end because I think that's what the NFL is going to be looking for. Good tight ends. All right, let's look at some more. Quarterback, March 6th, signed with the Bills. On the return, Trubisky. He had, which I kind of thought, man, he didn't make it with Pittsburgh, but 62.6 completion percentage, 632 passing yards, 4 TDs, 5 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdown. He signs, which is kind of surprising with Buffalo. They have 2-year, 5.2 million, 2 million guarantee. Is he worth it or not?
I like a good backup quarterback. Now, Josh has proven to be very stable and very durable. But his play is indicative of perhaps getting hurt. There's a lot of things that Trubisky can do that Josh can do. They're very similar. Conversely, I thought Kyle Anderson signing last year was like, there's a lot of things that Josh can do that he can't do. So it makes sense to me. You said $5 million for 2 years, which means 2.5 each year, which is very low for a capable winning quarterback. It didn't work in Pittsburgh. I think that's more about how Pittsburgh is made. Remember, he never got to play with the new offensive coordinator that they put in there, So he got a lot of that old offensive style. I don't think that was on Mitch. I think the biggest thing that I will say about Mitch Trubisky, he did one false move. He should have gone to New York. When he came out of Buffalo, instead of going to Pittsburgh, he should have gone to the Giants. And if he would have gone to the Giants, I think that Daniel Jones would not have gotten that contract. And I think Trubisky would still be there.
Interesting. All right, so he's a worth it. Cornerback, re-signing with the Bears. Jalen Johnson, 36 tackles, 10 passes defended, 4 interceptions. Big contract. 4 years, $76 million. Worth it or not?
Okay, so we have to separate here to me the player from the team. So if you ask me, is the player worth it? The player is worth it. I thought he had a phenomenal season.
Yeah, I don't think they could have let him go. I don't think they could have worth with that team and where they are and trying to make impacts and moves and their whole thing. Do we keep the first? Do we keep, I think you keep something that's been working, and that's your defense. Has
Right.
been working. Don't mess that up.
Yeah, I agree. And they're not paying anybody else. They're paying Tremaine, they're paying him. So is he worth the contract? The answer is yes. Should the Bears have signed that contract? I don't know. There's certain amount of teams that you have to be ready for guys in this caliber. So I guess it depends on what they think they're about to do and how quickly they're going to be better. Because if they can get better in the next 1 to 2 years, then that contract would have been worth it. But if not, if they're going to flounder,
Let's put it this way. I don't see any guaranteed money. I could be wrong. I'm just looking at what it's giving me here. That's only $19 million a year. You say $19 million, and I don't see any guarantee. Again, I'm just reading what information I have here, and I don't see any guaranteed money. That's worth it to me. I could tell you, I give you $100 million for 4 years. Nothing's guaranteed. NFL's like that, my friends. So again, I say it's worth it.
and with no guaranteed money, he's a beautiful trade mechanism, if anything else.
True.
He's an asset that you can trade with no guaranteed money that you're seeing. I mean, you wait till the middle of this year when somebody's in the hunt and their cornerback has gone down, just like the Bills were last year, and we got Rasul Douglas. That's a big deal.
All right. Tight end, another tight end. I'm telling you, tight end is the place to be. Tight end re-signs with the Patriots. Hunter Henry, 14 games, 10 starts, 42 catches, 419 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3-year, $30 million, 10-year deal. I don't see any guaranteed money. I could be wrong, but I'm just going by what I've been given. So for me, being that they're going to be bringing on a young quarterback, I think that's well worth it. Well worth it.
It can be. It can be. The good thing about Hunter Henry is he's a good blocker. So you need that, right? So you need to be able to set the edge when your tackles are getting overwhelmed. New England is in such a state of disrepair that even today, when I saw the news that they traded their quarterback to Jacksonville, I do not exactly know what they're doing. So you got to pay somebody. You got to have an outlet. I told you earlier that a good tight end is great for a young quarterback. I'm not going to step back off of that. Hunter Henry has good hands. He catches what's thrown towards him. I think it's a understandable paying of the tight end. Good or bad, I think it's right in the middle.
All right. Let's go with another one. Safety, re-signed with the Bills. Taylor Rapp. 50 total tackles, 2 pass defensive, 1 interceptions, 3-year, $14.5 million. Again, I see no guarantee money. For me, again, if you that's on the cheap.
Yeah, no, I think that is a continuity thing. We had to cut Jordan Poyer because of salary cap restrictions. Micah Hyde has had a couple of injuries that you really have to question his longevity. And Taylor Rapp came in last year. The year before that, he won the Super Bowl with the Rams, just to put it into context. he has a year in our system. I think it's a continuity thing. I think we brought him in because we know the other person on the other side of him is going to be a rookie or young or new to this system. There is a ton of safeties out there. I thought it was a good signing because he's very physical at the point of attack. He plays the Jordan Poyer role, which is harder to find than the Micah Hyde role, where you put a cornerback in there and teach him how to be safety.
All right, I got two more, and then I got some throw a twist in there. One, re-signed with the Ravens. I don't know how to if I can pronounce his name. Justin Madubuk. 17 starts, 45 tackles, 13 sacks, $4,098 million.
Yeah, so he was a very economical signing for the production. A guy who knows the system. I think it was a no-brainer because if they can't get one of these defensive ends off free agency for a reasonable price, they have a guy who they can say is a stopgap between their rookie and him. So I thought it was a good sign.
Chris Jones from the Chiefs reportedly agreed to a 5-year deal, $95 million guaranteed. It says practically guaranteed. So it must be a lot of it guaranteed.
Right. I thought they were bidding against themselves. I don't think anybody else was going to come near that, but he was worth the most to them. They have a very young defense behind him. They've all been drafted in the last 2 years. It made sense to me. It's the first time that the Chiefs had decided that a position was worth it other than the quarterback. So that says a lot about how much they see in Chris Jones.
Yeah.
They franchise tagged their cornerback. Snead is only franchise tag, which tells me they're giving their young corners another year to maturate, and then they're not going to pay Snead. There's no way they're paying Snead. So it tells you a lot about that position and what they think of it and what they think of him. So was it worth it? I think it was worth it for the Chiefs. Would I have paid it on another team? I'm not sure.
All right, the speed round. This is just a thumbs up, thumbs down. Ready? Thumbs up, thumbs down. These are players that were franchise tagged.
Oh.
Ready? Here we go. Josh Allen, linebacker with Jacksonville Jaguars. Franchise
thumbs
tag.
up. Thumbs up. They could not have lost him. He's the glue.
All right, next. Brian Burns, linebacker, Carolina Panthers.
Thumbs up. He is the only player on that roster that is worth any money guaranteed.
Interesting. This one's different. This one's a transition tag. Defensive back, Kyle Duggar from the Patriots.
I think that tag was good because what you're giving the option, if somebody really wants to come get him, they can come get him, and they're going to owe you picks with the transition tag. But Kyle Duggar is a good back, solid, and you're not paying him much to be on your team. And you have to also take into account that you let go of J.C. Jackson, which was your quote-unquote number one.
T. Higgins, franchise tag. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Don't give comments. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm gonna say thumbs up because he's worth the thumbs up. I think it was a mistake not signing him.
I think, yeah. I think sometimes if you feel that somebody's a franchise tag, My thing is let's negotiate a contract.
Yeah.
That for me, franchise tag is called, I don't want to lose you, so I'm going to pay you this amount, but it don't gain any confidence, really. I don't think the player likes being franchise tag.
They do not. And I think that they think that Jamar Chase is better. And I would say that you can find another Jamar Chase with his size and speed. They're coming out every year in the draft. With the size of T. Higgins, you're not going to find.
Michael Pittman.
I thought that was ridiculous. I thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Your young quarterback doesn't even know how to use his wide receivers yet. He's not good enough to make your quarterback better to pay that amount of money. I thought that they could have let him go and re-signed him once he figured out that the market was not there for him. That's what I thought.
I think I think they didn't want to lose what they got. We talked about Snead. What about Antonio Winfield?
Antoine Winfield Jr. is a beast. I don't exactly understand why they didn't sign him to a contract. I hope they get
thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yeah, I think they couldn't afford to let him go. I think he's the heart of defense there. All right. One bonus question. Broncos traded away Jerry, if I pronounce this right, Judy, for 2 draft picks. I think it was a 5th and a 7th. Do you think that's worth it?
Negative.
I agree.
Jerry Judy is a bust.
Yeah,
anybody who thinks, nah.
Yeah, to the Browns. I think the Browns are desperate.
I think they got a guy who they thought might help their quarterback because they're desperate because they paid all that money for him. It's not going to work. He's not that good.
I agree. I don't think he's going really anywhere. But there's still a lot of free agents out there still on the market. Some good ones, Saquon Barkley, Cousins. You got a lot of good ones out there. Josh Jacobs, again, which for me, I think one of the better running backs that if I was looking, Ridley, Tony Pollard. If I'm him, Dallas, I would try to get Jacobs instead. Let him ride. But there's a lot. Cousins, where's Cousins going to go?
I think it's interesting. We're full of running backs right now that are going to be free agents. We've got Josh Jacobs, we've got Derrick Henry, we've got Austin Eckler, we've got Saquon Barkley, we've got Dalvin Cook, we've got Tony Pollard, and I'm sure there is more guys that I'm forgetting.
No, yeah, there's more. Minnesota just cut a running back.
Alexander Madison.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there that I think are very what I call useful running backs.
To me, the whole league has it wrong. The whole league is focused in on Saquon Barkley.
I wouldn't touch
the top 2 backs are Josh Jacobs,
number 1,
and Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler, I would give you Austin Eckler. I think you're right.
When you look at the production of Austin Eckler, it's going to be more than all those guys because he stayed healthier, he catches passes, he runs hard. I'm telling you right now, the league has it wrong when they're talking about, because I believe, if I'm listening to it correctly, everybody's talking about Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. I get it. I get why. But that's wrong.
I agree. I think Josh Jacobs is, for me, the number 1. I think Saquon is too injury prone. I think Henry, maybe he's got a 1 to 2 year fling. I think if you're telling me Henry, put him on Kansas City.
Yes.
I think that would be like, oh my goodness, who, you got him in the backfield. I think that changes everything for
Yeah.
them.
If you have a back like if you put Derrick Henry on Buffalo, that makes sense. If you
Yeah,
put him on Kansas City, that makes sense. If you put
imagine
him
this.
in,
Imagine this. Imagine him at Buffalo. Put him and Cook both in the back. All of a sudden, Henry goes dead center. Cook rolls out. That just messed the whole defense up.
it makes so many problems.
It would make so many problems.
And you can guarantee Josh's uh, health with a guy like that. You guarantee Josh's health with a guy like Derrick Henry. So that would make sense. But if you're telling me I'm going to make him my featured back, like a lot of people are like, oh, he should go to Dallas. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
If Dallas is focused on running backs, then they don't know who they are.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Dallas, the problem with Dallas is they're going to want the name. They're going to want, I guarantee you, they're going to go for Saquon, something like,
Absolutely, you're right.
and I think
100%
that's going
right.
to be a mistake. Now,
Yes.
I don't think that when he's healthy, he's great, but I don't think he's going to be healthy. I don't think he's going to be
So
healthy.
somebody we did not talk about in free agency, and it just came over, was Baker Mayfield for a 3-year, $100 million deal for Tampa. That was very interesting to me. I felt like they were bidding against no one. I felt like Russell Wilson would have done just as good for a year cheaper. What do you think about? Am I wrong? Is my logic off?
I think Tampa was a little worried. Remember, the coordinator that got him to look so good is now in Carolina. And I don't care
Mm,
what you say, coaches are only as good as their quarterbacks
yeah.
or their system. If this guy said, hey, let's try to get Baker. Yeah, we got a quarterback. He could have said, let's give Baker a 2-year contract and let our quarterback kind of learn a little bit, rest a little bit. We threw him in there, learn my system. Baker will be done. I think that's what Tampa Bay was a little bit scared of, that they would lose Baker. Baker is gotten used to the wide receivers. He's gotten used to the system. So I say that's what got them. Now, do I think they could have got Baker a little bit cheaper? Maybe, but the problem is, who else is out there? You're gonna
So
say
let me
Russell
ask
Wilson,
you this.
Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
cousin,
I'll ask you
Garoppolo,
this.
Garoppolo.
Now, let me
That's
ask
why
you this. Let me ask you this about Tampa. Mike Evans ain't young. Chris Godwin is not old, but he ain't young. You've got pieces in place right now to attack right now. Would signing Baker stop you from drafting a quarterback?
No, I don't think the Bucks. I don't know where they fall on the line of drafts. I don't think Bucks are looking quarterback. And only way it would not, I would get if I'm on the top 10 picks. But no, I don't think Bucks are gonna get a quarterback. If Bucks are gonna look at, I think if they could pick up offense as they do, they're defensive gluttons. I think if they could pick up another running back, they will, even though White is good, but I think they will pick up, and that's very possible that a running back will drop into their hands in the second round.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so I think they're gonna be picking up defense, and they're gonna be picking up maybe some cornerbacks, linebackers, but I won't be surprised if they pick up a running back. So the answer, if they were in the top 1 to 10, 100% they pick up a quarterback. They're not in that run, so I say no, they won't. Even if one drops, like a Tennessee quarterback, Oregon, I don't even think those guys, maybe they drop to the second round. Those 2 quarterbacks I just talked about. And the kid from
Like
Tennessee.
like a Bo Nix type of guy.
Yeah. The kid from Tennessee, he's a big kid, man. That kid was throwing some balls on the combine.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. To me, I'm like, so they got to be in a 22, 23, 24 range because they did make the playoffs. So, they're not that high. I think a lot of people are thinking that there's going to be a lot more quarterbacks go than I think. I think there's so many skilled position guys, and there's so many capable quarterbacks right now in the NFL that need homes that I think that's going to skew it.
I think what's going to skew it is this. We have a lot of quarterbacks coming out. We have a lot of stud offensive line guys coming out. We have a lot of stud wide receivers guys. So who the heck do you pick? Do you go with the best player out or the best need out? And I think that's what's going to, oh man, this receiver, he's the best. I want him, but that's not the best I need who's still out there. But if I take him, I don't get, that's the problem where you're going to see guys going.
Well, I'll say this. When you think about it, right, the wide receiver market has been dwindled. Indy signed their guy back. Cincinnati signed their guy back. So right now, the top guy on the list is Calvin Ridley. After that, it's whatever you need. I mean, Gabe Davis might be the next highest guy after that.
Yeah.
My point to that saying is that you might look at signing a wide receiver more than signing a quarterback, because the quarterbacks that are out there, you're going to have Gardner Minshew, who gave meaningful minutes. Jacoby Brissett, meaningful minutes. You're going to have Jameis Winston, that, depending on what your feelings are on him, meaningful minutes. You're going to have Kirk Cousins coming off an injury. He's the highest touted meaningful minutes. Baker Mayfield's now already locked up. Trubisky's already locked up. My point is, you got quarterbacks out there that have played in the NFL that you might say, let me see the quarterbacks in the second or third round. But you're not going to say that about the wide receivers. You're going to see, let me see who I can get wherever I'm at.
True. What we should do, the draft is live on the 25th of April, Thursday. The day before, we should go live talking about the draft and the picks and some things that's Wednesday night. We should go live talking about the draft. All right. Everyone, as always, we're talking about what's hot, what's not, what's worth it, what wasn't worth it, just on people signing. We got a little bit into a whole bunch of other discussions, but the main thing is, what do you feel? What do you think? The NFL is not dead. It's going to be a crazy year next year. Some teams are going to get loaded with some top wide receivers, 6'4", majority of these guys. We got some little scat bats at 5'8". I think there's one receiver out there who can run. We had one receiver in the combine run a 4.22. The McCaffrey brothers. We got a McCaffrey brother that ran a little faster than his brother by a smidgen. So what are we going to see? We're going to see some crazy things. Does he get drafted? How far does he fall? If anything, he's a wide receiver. I may be thinking about running back if his brother did that good. Maybe we could duplicate this. We got a lot of quarterbacks, guys, a lot of quarterbacks to think about. Everybody's talking about, it's interesting. Who's going to go? Where are they going to go? And all that good stuff. There's a lot to talk about left in football. But the main thing is, as we always say about sports, John, say it.
Talk to a stranger about sports today.
Thank you guys for all your time. Subscribe,